All right, good morning, everyone. This is Carolyn Jacobs with GBH Education. We are recording, and we will send out the recording link of this Jumpstart PBS LearningMedia webinar probably first thing tomorrow morning. In the follow-up email will be not only the recording link, but lots of other links to resources and also a link to the slides that I'm showing. If you have extra time today and you're anxious to watch the recording or pass it along, just shoot me an email. You'll have my, I think you already have my email, or you'll have it at the very end, and I'll be happy to send you the link today. Just a reminder, if you are having technical issues, close out of other apps on your device, log back in again on a different browser, and if all else fails, know that we are recording this and you'll get the recording link. So we started these 15-minute Jumpstart webinars a couple of weeks ago, which seems like a long time ago, and we started out with them for general information and then fine-tuned these to grade specific, so you're in the 6-8. All of our webinars that are recorded live on GBH Education YouTube channel, and again, we'll send out the link to you tomorrow. PBS LearningMedia is a free site. It is not free just now because of the virus. It always has been, always will be free. So educators, students, teachers are welcome to use the site. We encourage you to sign in, although you're welcome to browse the site without signing in. But if you do sign in, then you have full use of the functionality of the site. You can save resources, share them through folders, launch interactive lessons, save student work, etc. So I encourage you to sign in, please. And when you click the sign in button, you can sign in through Facebook or Google or just by your email, and then your own self-selected password, of course. In the first series of Jumpstart webinars, I demonstrated searching by using keywords in the topic window, and that was climate change. But today I'm going to demonstrate searching by subject heading, which is right at the top of the page. So this is the home page, and I encourage you before you get into your search to just explore the home page. There are several rows of these attractive thumbnail pictures, and they all represent resources. These are ever-changing. Sometimes they're timely for what's going on in the world or a holiday or new content, and we try and have a wide range to appeal to across the grades and curriculum. There are thousands of resources on the site, and again, they are for all grades and across the curriculum. So I'm going to click on the subject heading at the top, and then this is what comes up, and you can see all of the subject headings here, and we're going to look at science, and under each of the disciplines there are several topics: earth and space science, life, physical, etc. I'm clicking on earth and space science right here. My search results appear below. Each of these pictures represent a resource, and certainly you can click right there. There's a brief description before you click on it to give you an idea what it is. And also in the lower left-hand corner of each of these pictures is a notation of what kind of resource this is. So it could be a lesson plan, it could be a video, it could be an interactive, a document, etc. After I click on Earth and Space Science, I'm going to filter my search by grade. In this case, I've clicked 6, and the type of resource. So I only want to look at interactives, not videos, not lesson plans, etc. We encourage you, you can click on multiple grades, and we encourage you to go up or down by grade to differentiate your learning, your teaching. Note also here on the left-hand side these subtopics that you can click on to further fine-tune your search. So you can see that the interactives, actually I've clicked on interactive, so that's all I'm getting in my search results right here. And over here on the far right, the tab is called Relevance, and I've clicked on that because I only want to see what is most popular. The choices are most popular or newest. So Why Do We Have Seasons is the most popular resource, and I'm just going to call attention to the mountain one here also on the third one, which a lot of teachers write me about. So I've clicked on the Why Do We Have Seasons, the most popular resource. This is a resource page. Note that at the top left there is a Google Classroom icon. We are fully integrated with Google Classroom as well as Clever and Schoology. Note the hard outline right here. Down below is a brief description, the link to support materials, and the link to standards. And over here on the right-hand side are related resources that you can click on, save, and that will also just fill out a more robust lesson. That hard outline I have clicked on, it's now filled in. That means that this resource is now in my favorites folder. You find your favorites up over by your name. You click on the drop down and you have your dashboard and then favorites. Everything that you click that hard on is favorited. This folder will be populated in the order in which you saved it. And from here, you can create folders and move your favorites around to share them. Note add a link right up here. Add a link means that you can add a link to your favorites that is outside of PBS LearningMedia and then include that in a folder. So if you have a folder on the seasons, but you also want to include a resource from, for example, Smithsonian.org, you can include that link in your favorites first and then move it to a folder. You can sort your folders alphabetically or by newest to oldest, and there's also this notes field for you to put notes in that will carry over when you share your folder. Support materials include background reading, discussion questions, teaching tips, student handout, etc. It's not consistent across the site that all resources have support materials, but you can filter your search by those who only have support materials. And also there's an icon in your search results that shows you if something has support materials. All the support materials are printable, editable, and we encourage you to make sure you don't miss them. Standards, we are aligned to National, Common Core, and GSS state standards. By virtue of logging in with your zip code, you will see your state standards. There's a very robust help menu. We'll include the link to help in our follow-up email tomorrow, but you can go to the site, and in the far lower right-hand corner of the home page is a link to the help menu. Very detailed instructions on using Google Classroom, on assigning lessons to students, viewing student work, etc. So these are some suggestions to get you started. So this is Poetry Month, and these colorful banners represent collections. Collections is simply a curated grouping of resources. So when you go to a collection, you see many links to resources in one search. Often the collection is organized by subtopics and can include anywhere from 3 to hundreds of resources. So I encourage you, when you're first starting out, we did that search where we filtered our search by grade 6 and resource type of interactive. Try searching by collection. Collection is a resource type, and it's easy to search by that. Poetry in America, I just want to give a special shout out to that because the second season, this was on public television, and the second season starts this weekend. This is just a very innovative collection and of well-known people who are talking about poems that have meaning to them in animated and very creative ways, short videos. And one of my favorites is the poem Fast Break by Edward Hirsch. And Shaquille O'Neal does a great job narrating a fast break from a basketball star's point of view and talking about the poem and how it relates to basketball, but not only basketball, but of course the human condition. Literary Elements is an animated series of short videos that help you review literary elements like theme, setting, figurative language, etc. Three standout collections for science. Nova Wonders is relatively new. There are about 20 resources in that section. Gross Science, extremely popular with middle school students for obvious reasons. Gross subjects, considering all body parts, etc., and the science behind them. And Nova, of course. Nova, I think there is over 1,000 short clips from Nova on the site. When I say short clips, we are referring to 3 to 5 minute clips that are often drawn from a full-length program like Nova, carefully edited to stand alone, tell a story, align with standards, offered on the site, and excuse me. And then there are lots of videos that have nothing to do with a program on television that instead are a funded project that WGBH or other stations around the country have published on PBS LearningMedia. I also wanted to call attention to a wonderful collection, The Secret Life of Scientists and Engineers. There are about 100 of these short clips. Most of the scientists portrayed are young. Everyone is very enthusiastic and passionate about their jobs. And this one is the science journalist Sim Singh, who has a PhD in particle physics, but then went on to study science journalism. He's written many books, and one of them is about the math demonstrated in The Simpsons. These are all very entertaining videos, lots of fun. Another group of collections for middle grades, American Experience, of course, Masterpiece, many, many short clips from the classics, from Diary of Anne Frank, Sherlock Holmes, Austen, Dickens, etc. And you can do wonderful lessons on looking at media and discussing text to media. What were the decisions that the producer made, what's left out, what's in, etc. Inspiring Middle School Literacy is a collection of interactive lessons that cross over math, science, ELA, and social studies for grades 5 through 8. And each of these lessons stress literacy strategies as well as content. A collection for K-12, Bringing the Universe to America's Classrooms. This is a collection produced by WGBH in collaboration with NASA, Earth and Space Science Resources across K-12. We have been working with NASA on their images, and on using their images and their data to create visualizations, simulations, short video, interactives, lesson plans, etc. It's a very rich and robust collection. So if you are a science teacher, I encourage you to check it out. I've put together a folder of the resources I just showed you, plus many more on PBS LearningMedia. So you are welcome. This folder URL will also be shared in the follow-up email tomorrow. If you can, take a little screenshot now or record it in some way. And I'll try and keep adding to this folder, but this is a good way to get for you to get started. I mentioned interactive lessons related to the middle school literacy collection. Interactive lessons are perfect for distance learning. They are self-contained lessons that a student can log into, go through a series of screens, highly engaging, short informational text, lots of media, assessment. They can save their work. And we have interactive lessons across K-12, all subjects. There are hundreds of them. The teacher tutorial on interactive lessons is a good place to get started. It's called Using Interactive Lessons in the Classroom. We did some filming in Worcester of elementary, middle, and high school teachers using interactive lessons and embedded those videos throughout the lesson itself. So I encourage you to check that out. And here are just a couple of examples of interactive lessons for grades 6 through 8. You can see the wide range. Some of these have been produced by WGBH and some have been produced by other stations around the country. All right, we run lots of webinars, and typically our longer webinars that involve teacher presenters are weekday evenings at 7 p.m. And most recently, we had a webinar teaching about women in World War II and student engagement with project-based learning. This webinar crossed over grades and featured a national expert and author on project-based learning, Susie Boss, and also featured Jeremy Whalen, who is a tech specialist in Northampton Public Schools. It is wonderful, a conversation between the two of them about what is good project-based learning, how to get started, etc. So I encourage you to look at that recording, and again, you'll get that link in my follow-up email. And then, let's see, interactive lessons. Oh yeah, so next week we are running, and that should say Thursday, not Wednesday. It's the 16th, but it is Thursday. We are running a full hour for all grades, general information about how to find, access, use interactive lessons, and save student work, view student work, etc. And I will be joined on that webinar with 2 teachers who are very experienced in interactive lessons. So please consider registering for that. These Jumpstart webinars, we have one more this afternoon for grades 9-12. And I want to make sure that you all know about the Distance Learning Resource Center portal, which is brand new at wgbh.org. So about 3 weeks ago, we worked with the Department of Ed in Massachusetts and to create this distance learning resource portal. And if you go to it, and we encourage everybody to go to it, parents and teachers, the For Educators tab will lead you to sections of resources across the grades, many of them on PBS LearningMedia, but this is another good way to get started to find resources that are relevant for you. Also, one of the tabs is the TV schedule. The TV schedule, we have worked with the World Channel, which is available across Massachusetts, to develop a programming schedule from 12 to 5 Monday through Friday. We started a couple of weeks ago. There's a new schedule that will be posted each week. And this is all programming that we feel is appropriate based on the standards for grades 6 through 12. And note that after each program, there is a link, in many cases, to related resources. We're doing very short jumpstart webinars about the TV schedule, giving you a heads up about what's coming next week. And those are offered on Wednesdays, and you'll be getting a note about next Wednesday's webinar and how to access that. I see I'm going over my time. I apologize. Follow us on social media, please. We're very active on Facebook, Twitter, etc. And we have a scavenger hunt. By the way, I've extended this to Sunday, not Friday, because this link will come out to you in the follow-up email tomorrow morning. So these are quick questions that will, just a fun way to explore PBS LearningMedia. I think there are 4 questions. We're asking you to complete 3 of the 4. And then we will choose 4 of the correct winners and award you an Amazon gift card. We did this last week, and we had about 50 responders. And of those 50, maybe 20 or so were correct. And then I drew 4 winners, so your odds are pretty good. So check it out. Thank you very, very much for joining me early this morning. Carolyn Jacobs, here's my email, carolyn_jacobs@wgbh.org. You are welcome to email me with any questions that you have. I'll direct them to the right people. I wanted to mention also, considering most of you are middle school teachers or parents, we are looking for grade 5 and 6 students to test out a podcast that we are now developing appropriate for ELA and social studies. So if you are a teacher of 5th or 6th graders and are interested, I will send you more information this morning, and there's a link to a survey. And if you're a parent, the same thing. There's a different survey for parents. So I'd love to have a few volunteers for doing the podcast review. Otherwise, let me just look in the okay, so Michelle, I'm looking at the Q&A now. Michelle asked, how do we get student accounts so that we're able to engage in interactive lessons? Michelle, if you would look at the help menu on the site, it will walk you through the process of student accounts. An email is not required. And also, we are going to address that in the webinar next week on interactive lessons. If you have any issues, let me know. Good question, Annie, about PDPs available for the webinars. Excuse me. There is a post-webinar survey. In fact, I forgot to mention that. You'll get the link to that tomorrow. Maybe I'll send it out, try and send it out a little sooner. And there's an option at the end to download a certificate. I'm not sure I'm not sure we're doing it for these 15 minutes, to tell you the truth, but I know we do it for our longer ones. So the post survey is created by our research department, and so everything is anonymous, and then you can download a certificate afterwards, certificate to acknowledge your participation. Okay, Wanda is saying she registered for the interactive media session. When I tried to get online, it was full. Is there a way to avoid this? I'm not sure which one you registered for. The interactive lesson webinar is next week, so that hasn't launched yet. If you did register for something else that was full, that was an error in our platform. We have expanded our license to 500 or 1,000, I think. So hopefully you will never get the message again that the room is full. San Lee asks which channels are able to access WGBH So, San, I don't know what state you're in or what your what area of Massachusetts, but if you go to wgbh.org, you can find how to access it. Certainly in the greater metro area, it is Channel 2. I live in Maine, actually, so I no longer can get wgbh.org on my channel. Thank you, Annie, for the nice comment. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. Again, you will get a follow-up email about all the links, etc. That will come out tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, you have my email address. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions or are anxious to watch the recording today. I will send it out to you. Here again is the scavenger hunt link. And I'll put a couple of other links in the chat box. I just put the survey link in the chat box. This is the post-webinar survey that you've just experienced. And if you would click on that and do a very brief survey, I'd appreciate it. We are drawing a couple of winners from the survey also for a $25 Amazon gift card, our favorite giveaway. Who doesn't like that? So feel free to do that.